What is up, my lovely people in Blue Cranium land? So for today's video, guys, I'm going to be drawing you all 4 skulls, and they're going to be in the thumbnail, kind of like that rough, sketchy kind of look. So these are pretty much the 4 types of skulls that I usually draw, or in the style format, and I kind of use the Narendra pencil, which is under the sketching tab under the Procreate brush library. So for the first one, I'm just going to start out by drawing this squished kind of a circle, and this one is going to be one of the most basic ones, or the basic views, which would be the front facing view. So I started out by drawing the nose cavity, and I kind of shaded this in so that way when if I want to finalize this sketch, it is still visible when I turn down the opacity. I've kind of done this oval for the first and second eye, and then as usual just shade them in so that way I know where I'm going to be doing my shadow work, and just vibing it out as I draw my beautiful skulls. So this view is basically one of the most simple ones to draw, as I said, and it's kind of what do you want to say, simple if you're going to be designing like a sticker, or if you're going to be doing like a forward facing skull design for a t-shirt. And when you're practicing and not recording, at least it makes for a very simple and very leisurely fun kind of skull to illustrate, which is why I like the front facing view, because there's not a whole lot of angles you gotta mess with, and everything is pretty much almost kind of like symmetrical. I mean, it's not exactly symmetrical, but I mean, if you were to look at the placement of the eyes and the nose and then the cheekbones and all that, it kind of is easy for somebody that's a beginner to follow along, especially if you were to be creating like some sort of coloring book, which is simple line art. And this view makes for a really simple transition into drawing the more complicated views, which are the top views and the side views and the 3/4 views. But all in all, I think yes, this forward facing view is by far the most drawn out ones. I mean, if you're looking up on YouTube, you'll find mostly skull illustrations or skull drawings are for the most part done in a forward facing view. And then I guess obviously you'll have some of the side facing views, and but this part I just kind of wanted to give the skull nice kind of like a textured look. And I really like this pencil because it almost gives you the feel like you're drawing with some sort of a digital big pen, and it gives the thumbnails is a nice rough kind of rugged vibe and illustrative feel to them. The best part about drawing these illustrations digitally is you don't ever have to worry about smearing the line work, because I remember when I used to draw in my regular sketchbook, starting out with the 2H pencil and then going over with the big pen, you always had to look at your hand and look at all that graphite just kind of caked on, not caked, but kind of smothered onto your hand, and then the whole canvas would get this kind of a gray textured look from all the graphite kind of just going all over the place. And then with the big pen, what I didn't like is sometimes if you draw long enough with the big pens, they kind of have this gloppy kind of the ink will just kind of glop up at the tip, and then it kind of makes this glop appear somewhere in the illustration, which is kind of irritating. But sometimes if you're just doing an illustration, you can actually use that and kind of build up the drawing based on that, and that's definitely one thing that you cannot learn a whole lot if you just completely and just 100% draw digitally, because there's so much you can learn from drawing traditionally and not having the ability to always hit that Control Z or the the undo option. So this is what number 1 looks like, and on to number 2. So for this one also, I'm just going to start out by drawing this squish circle, and I'm going to be drawing it in a side-facing view. The only thing different with this one and the regular side-facing view ones that you probably can come across through Google is I chose not to draw the lower jaw, and there was no particular reason. I just felt like drawing the skull with just the side view and just having the lower jaw kind of like just missing, so it kind of has like that nice look and feel, like as if it was just sitting somewhere resting. And drawing the skull in a non-traditional way, which would be like what was I trying to say, when you look at drawing books and you're trying to learn anatomy, they have like these measurements, and they have a certain way that they want the or not want, but kind of want to teach you how to draw a skull. And in my mind, I'm like, what is the point of having to draw something that is already there? It's more fun having to create something out of your imagination, because then you truly give yourself the ability to be completely free and creative. What happens is if you make the teeth bigger than they are, make the nose smaller, or make the not compartment, but kind of like the cavity for the eye smaller or bigger, there's all this fun and this level of uncertainty, and like not knowing how the final illustration's gonna turn out. So I think that's what makes it exciting to draw something totally out of your imagination. And I don't know if you guys can hear the rain, but I sure can. But as I was saying, so drawing the side-facing view, I think, is also another fun view that you can practice drawing, because this is another view that can be turned into a sticker, or maybe a t-shirt design. But it's more like, I think if you were to be doing a nice big illustration for like a mural, or maybe a biker theme kind of drawing, I think this view is perfect for that, because it has like that nice I think what I like about this angle of drawing the skull is it kind of has some sort of movement to it, even though it's actually perfectly sitting still. And there are so many things you can do. Like now, if I chose to draw the lower jaw, I could draw it open. I could draw it falling off. And there's so many things you can mix and match. And it doesn't have to be just drawn out one way. And when I'm not making these videos, I think I may have told you guys in the earlier videos, is I have a small little sketchbook in which I draw. And it's all about just letting your mind flow and just keep practicing, because the only way you're actually going to get better at drawing anything, whether it be skulls or whether it be buildings or whatever it is you might fancy, is by keep practicing and practicing. Like I kind of remember like back in 2018 when when I started my drawing back up, it was just kind of a little bit concerning that initially my drawings were just coming out like so crappy, and I'm like, oh wow, it's like I felt like that I might not be able to get back to where I was once drawing. And it's amazing because you don't really think that about drawing, and that not drawing for a little while might actually make your skills kind of all rusty. But it's only after you put the pencil to the paper, or maybe a pencil, or not pencil, but a big pen or whatever it is you want to draw with, you kind of slowly and steadily start noticing these slight improvements becoming. And it's kind of cool to look back at the older pages you drew, and then just observing the small little subtle changes that come about. And it's, for me, I think it was a little bit of a choice, and very actually choice situation, to see these little changes come about. But all in all, drawing has always been something that I enjoy doing, and it is something that I'm always going to keep doing. So it's not something that I'm ever going to stop ever again, like how I did for the longest time, which is my mistake, and I think I probably should have not done that. But hey, you learn from your mistakes, and hopefully you improve and you keep getting better and better, and keep on drawing. I mean, that's all I can think about. But so this would be it for the second one. So for the third one, what I thought I'd do is, I thought of drawing this pose in almost like a bottom top kind of view, but kind of tilted off to the right side. So if you was pretty much like, if this was like a taller skeleton, and if you were looking at the skeleton, you would actually be looking at it kind of from a lower perspective. So that's kind of like the view I was going for. The more I was drawing this view, I kind of thought about the movie Terminator, and I think it was maybe I don't know if it was the first part or the second part. Maybe it was the second part, I think. But there are so many angles at looking at the steel, metal, and the skeleton, or what they call cyborgs, but I just call them skeletons. And it's amazing how many different angles are there to draw or illustrate a skull and the entire skeleton. And what's cool is when you look up videos for concept artists, and when they make these different thumbnail sketches on drawing different characters, it's kind of fun to see their thought process and to narrow it down as to which would be the final pose for a particular, like a storyboard or a drawing animation or something. But I think the cool part about drawing skulls or skeletons is there's so many moving parts to the character, and it's almost like drawing not so much a bridge, but think about the building stages of a bridge, where you have the concrete and then the rebar, and if you were doing an illustration for something that had all this different framework, there's so many different angles you can draw it in, like skulls, for example. And if you look up Pinterest, and if you were to type in perspective views for skulls, there's like a whole ton of information and a whole lot of illustrations that you can find. And I find it very helpful to go on Pinterest, because sometimes it's if you're looking for a particular angle to draw something in, and you just cannot seem to find it off Google, Pinterest seems to have a lot more options. And I don't remember if maybe back in my anatomy class days, the professor had I think what do you call it, there was models of skulls and skeletons sitting in the class, and you could actually physically put the skeleton or place him in a chair or a sofa, and you could take pictures of it to get the actual angle that you were looking for. And with digital art and turning down the opacity of a drawing or something, you can actually get the exact angle you're looking for. And I think that makes the whole drawing process so much more fun, as opposed to just drawing the regular poses that you would usually see a skull or a skeleton in. When it comes to other skeleton beings, I guess when it comes to animals and dinosaurs and crocodiles and all the living world creatures that are out there, it's kind of cool to see all the different skeleton types that are there, because the skeletons are by far, obviously and always will be the basic raw building blocks of life. And it's kind of cool to see what everything is basically attached to, whether it be your muscles, your skin, your skin's your external part, but just looking at the skeleton in all its glory is just beautiful, and I think what I enjoyed most about all the Terminator movies is just having to see a skeleton like a steel metallic form. And I know when I first watched these movies, it was just so cool to think that that, oh wow, maybe we have a steel skeleton inside. But yeah, so here we are at the final fourth one, and as usual, I did the the squish kind of circle. And this view, what I was going for is picture the skeleton looking down at something, kind of if you were looking at a skeleton and say the skeleton kind of dropped something out of his hand and kind of looking down. That's the kind of view I was going for. For the longest time, I felt that thumbnailing was just something that was very difficult for my brain to wrap around the concept of just drawing these scribbly looking skeletons or any kind of drawing for that matter. But what's amazing about this particular part of the process of drawing thumbnailing is it doesn't have to be perfect, and you just pretty much just scribbling something on the paper, and it has to be quick. And the whole point is to get down as much as possible. It could be 5, it could be 10, it could be 15, it could be 20. And I think when I first was in art school and the professor told us that, oh, we're gonna be doing thumbnailing, I couldn't understand what that meant. And I was like, why do we have to be looking at our thumbs when we are going to be drawing? And I was like, gosh, I felt like such an idiot when I found out through my classmate that was sitting at the side of me, who had obviously been drawing for a little while. I'm like, hey, I was like, I don't mean to be stupid when I ask this, but what is thumbnailing? And he's like, you don't know what thumbnailing is? And I'm like, no, I do not. And then he kind of broke it down for me, and I'm like, I was like, I never really thought about it. And what's funny is, as I said, in past videos, my grandpa drew a lot and painted, and he used to oil paint. And not once in all the conversations that we ever have did he ever say the word thumbnailing. Maybe he went by a different word, or he referred to it as a different word. But just the process by itself is so important to get your ideas across and to basically arrive at your final illustration or drawing. But this video, I guess, has been a very helpful video for me by itself, and just having to do the whole thumbnail process. And because it's YouTube, so you want it to be something that's cool, something that's informative, something that's entertaining, but all in all, you want to be able to teach your viewers something that and possibly they could benefit from. So I hope you guys have enjoyed my videos up until now. And with each and every video, I always try to improve and try to see what is it that I can put onto the channel or upload for you guys, where it'll be somewhat beneficial in the aspect of teaching entertainment, and just all in all learning about drawing and everything else that comes along with it. But yeah, so drawing these 4 skulls was definitely fun, guys, and I really hope you all enjoyed maybe drawing along with me and kind of listening to all my thought processes for each and every one that I drew. And I hope we can I hope I can continue to make these fun, interesting videos for you guys. And at the end of it all, I hope you all stay along for the long term. And as I said, I'll promise you to keep trying to get you content that'll be useful for you guys. I'll share my art with you guys. I'll tell you my process as to what I was thinking about when I was creating each piece. But hopefully you all as I said here, have fun drawing along. And if there's something that you all would like me to draw for another video, illustrate, or make something like this, or a topic, just leave it as a comment in this video or any of my other ones, and I will see what I can do. So till the next time, guys, keep creating, keep trying. I will see you all down the road or on the other side. Bye for now.